Joint Loss Management Committee has a brief report, and then Jennifer's going to talk to us about the Town of Brookfield website and the email address.
Actually, I think Rose is going to talk about the website. I'm going to talk about emails.
Beautiful. And Clifton is tied up in traffic. He should be here in about 10 or 15 minutes. And so we're going to go ahead and start and get this portion of the meeting, because I don't want to have people just sitting around wasting their time. At the completion of these 3 items and everybody's satisfied with budget, etc., then we'll formally start the selectmen's meeting. That way you're not all tied up if you don't really want to listen. So, good to see you this evening. And I know we've been keeping you busy.
No, not too bad.
The floor is yours.
Okay. So emails, obviously there's been some delays getting emails up and running. I think we're there now. I think everyone is able to. I haven't heard the emails from the independent committees that have email addresses. If they've had struggles going on, it's something I'll touch base with them on. I think one thing I need to address, and it was discussed at the last meeting, was use of personal email addresses on the website. It's an outstanding issue that I need direction from the selectmen how we want to proceed. I've done some research on other towns. Most of them seem to come in through, it's mixed. There are some small towns with personal email addresses. There's others with, ISP, either an @Roadrunner or at Metrocast, but I believe those are going in through the town's email server, because they're, Tamworth admin and @Roadrunner.com are those. I know the committee met, the website committee met, made a recommendation that we don't use personal email addresses based on feedback from Jim Fontaine, who's the email setup person, information Jessica received at the LGC conference regarding right to know, and just kind of best practices that we felt. So we need to know, because there's been some reluctance from people to switch to that, because it's one more email they have to check. So Rose and I are working on a policy for the website. We want to address that in there, so we need direction from the selectmen as to how they want us to proceed with that. Some of the feedback I've received is if you go to personal email addresses, and we don't have an Exchange server or anything here at the town from that website, there's no record anywhere of that email exchange. At least if it comes in, the initial email contact comes into our email server, we've got a record of that forever. If it was ever needed for court orders or any of that.
That's probably a very good thing.
So, and if it doesn't, and we use personal email addresses, we never have that record. Someone could then get the email address, get the email in, and then forward it to all those committees. We're going to lose it at that point, but at least you have maybe the initial email that came in. You can't control everything. You can't control people blindly copying other people or forwarding, but it might be nice to have at least the start email. But it would be nice to have that direction as we're setting up everything. We have, the major committees all have an email address. I don't know if each member of a committee or board needs to have it. I really think, if they have an assistant, have an email address, and then the chair. And then the chair can funnel it out to.
And then as the chairmanship changes year to year, the email doesn't have to change.
It just stays here.
Yeah, it stays here, and then, obviously that person will probably change that password, but that's still the same email address that town people can address their correspondence to, rather than knowing, oh yeah, now the chairman is so-and-so and I have to change who I'm sending.
Does the person have to come here to check the email?
No, they can check. They have a webmail engine to use it. Yes. Yes, and actually, it never actually comes here. We don't have an Exchange server, an email server, or anything in this town. It's been a misconception for a long time, I think. Nothing email related lives on that server, besides what may be downloaded onto the 3 accounts that have Outlook. It really lives out in the cloud of Pair, that's the email server we've gone through, is Pair Networks. So they have all, the gigs and gigs of data out there that we contain, and they store that. So it's very easy to go in. Yes, it is another email. I mean, you could set up your personal Outlook or whatever email utility you use to read that account. You can have Outlook go up and set up to read multiple email accounts. So you could have it come in and push it to different folders in there. Or you could just go and have it live where you could check it when you're at the town office, you can check it from home, you can check it when you're on vacation in Florida.
When the selectmen give you a decision, I'd like Clifton to know about it, have a chance to speak to it, but we're not speaking for the town clerk or the tax collector, because they're elected by the people, and like they have mail delivered to their home, town mail, and that is their choice. The selectmen don't get to vote on that one. So I just want to be sure you understand that little wrinkle in the, everything you're saying makes a lot of sense to me, but I think we should let Clifton have a chance to, and we'll try to give you an answer by the end of the evening. Even if you're not here, I'll just send you an email.
Can you respond by webmail?
Yes. If anyone uses Hotmail, Gmail, any of those, it's very similar to that. You've got your folders, you can have contact lists, address books, all of that. So you could set it up exactly as any of the other webmail servers, but it has some functionality built into it.
Okay.
I think a question for you, Artie. The treasurer and the town clerk, you said, you really can't control.
Tax collector.
Oh, the tax collector. I'm sorry, tax collector. That might have been okay, sending mail to their personal residence when it was all paper mail, because they could keep a copy. How are we assured that they're keeping electronic copies for future reference?
That's
Good
between
question.
them and
Pardon me?
the townspeople. I'm giving you a bureaucratic answer. The answer is, I don't have direct control over her work or her work. She's elected by the people, she works for the people, she does not work for the selectmen. It's a strange thing, but legally that's how it's organized.
We can't set their hours. Virginia sets her own hours. We cannot say, Virginia, we would like you to stay open 3 days a week. Virginia sets her own hours. We have no say over the hours. We'll talk to her and encourage her, but when push comes to shove, she sets the hours that she wants to work.
So there's no town policies that can be enacted by the governing body to dictate, I guess, for lack of a better word, what things are going. I just want to make
No,
sure
I would think what you're saying makes good sense.
Yeah, we'll obviously talk to them.
Yeah.
But my point is they don't have to go along with what we recommend.
Well, I wonder though, I'm wondering if, in the case of emails, whether that would be
I just think
the conducting business,
due to
doing
the
things at home.
litigious nature of society today, it helps us if we have a record.
Right, and I think maybe there is some electronic suggestions that LGC may have, or something in regards to, it may differ, hours is one thing, but when it comes to town records, I don't know if.
Well, I wonder how it has to do with our insurance for, what is it, when people steal money? What's it called?
We have people bonded. We're all bonded.
But I'm wondering if the bonding has a requirement.
Not that I'm aware of. Certainly not with email.
Well, it's like you were saying, money going to somebody's house personally.
And it may be worth some, that section we can do a little additional research on. And maybe they'll be willing and it's a moot point.
Yeah.
I have brought up the issue of the mail going to their homes, and that's where they want it. I'll leave it at that. George.
Yes, the planning board in the past has been very sensitive to the right to know law. And as a result, previously they had a system, a facility, an email facility. And that way, instead of instead of just having the group email going out, it goes to the facility and it goes to all the planning board members. And I've been instructed by the chair to make sure that this facility happens as well as possible.
Which I'd like to talk to you after, because I'm not sure who set that up and how it was.
It was Jim.
Okay.
Not Jim Fountaine.
Jim Murphy. And I think that was unbeknownst to others, because, I mean, I was in the town wearing several hats at that point and never knew that there was this listserv established for planning board. And without the lack of that knowledge leaving maybe the planning board, it never was incorporated into our new email system, because it was kind of maybe a secret thing among the planning board. They had it set up, Jim set it up, and it was known there, but no one else knew. So then we were uneducated about it and unable to establish it, which brought down what you guys had running for a while, because it was unknown to others. So we can work on trying to establish something. There's some struggles with that, though, and I've talked to Jim Fountaine about them. But we'll try to do that.
Okay.
We can talk
That's fine.
later about that. So move on. We obviously, even if we don't get an answer tonight, but if we could get the selectmen just to kind of give us guidance and let us know so we can incorporate that into the policy.
I'll try to get you an answer tonight.
Another thing, right now I am somehow the key contact for virtual town hall when it comes to changing permissions or new accounts. And I think it was because I started the initial conversations with them. I'd like permission to have that be changed to Jessica, because I think her hat now makes a lot more sense. No arguments?
No problem.
It'll decrease the latencies in me responding, because sometimes I'm not able to get to address it right away. And I think she's been in the office more. One other issue we've been struggling with is Rose as our kind of go-to for most of the committees and boards. Is she's had very limited access. We did that because we thought it made sense. She's not a town employee. She's more of a volunteer to do this. We thought it would make sense to keep her permissions minimal. Restricted. Probably, yeah, that's better. Now that we've moved in, we're finding that the way the website's structured, it almost prevents her from doing most things that need to occur. That she's there, because we have one level of access, which is to allow minutes and agendas to be put up. That's kind of the general one. Then Rose, who had ability to upload documents, and some other.
I remember there was a whole list of things that she couldn't
do. And then Jessica and I,
do.
who had kind of authority of everything. Thinking we may want to revisit that and keep the minutes and agendas on that general that everyone will use, but wanted to see if the selectmen had objection to Rose having the unlimited, or not as restricted. And I think the way it's structured, we almost have to give her the same access that Jessica and I have, because the way they've designed it all, you almost need that unrestricted access.
That restriction was set up by your committee.
Yes.
And so if your committee wants to change it, Bill, I don't have a problem with that.
I would rather, I think something is...
Expand it or comprehensive.
I would like...
I don't have any problem with Rose. That's not the issue. I'm trying to think
as we
beyond, as we go on further.
Same thing I'm thinking.
And that's why we did it, when we kind of had that guidance at first, because it's a volunteer, non-contractual basis, and maybe we almost need some type of written authority to Rose specifically, since it is, the permission is her name, correct? It's still our, it's tied to a person, not necessarily a general function. Yeah. Just something I'd like you to revisit.
It'll be monitored. It's not like we're just going to say, okay, Rose, here you go, knock yourself out.
But it is something, obviously we were concerned at first because it's a volunteer position, that type of thing, we didn't know, but.
Well, the question would be, when she stops volunteering, how fast can you turn that off?
Oh, it's a quick phone call.